Hey everyone, Christina Giordano here, the founder of Sold, your go-to resource for soulful entrepreneurship. And my philosophy is this: people can no longer be sold to, they must be sold to. That is SOUL''D. But in order to sell with soul, you need to be sold on you first. This is marketing and manifesting with nothing but the essence that is you. This is business that begins within. In this week's episode of Sold, I'm sharing the sold trajectory, what happens when you enter the sold framework. And then also I'm naming something that I don't believe that I've officially named before, and that is this: Sold stabilizes your signal. This is truly the heart of Sold, and it explains why expression matters, why containment matters, why orientation matters, why reality reorganizes, and why nonlinear results happen, not as a result of strategy, but as a result of stabilizing your signal. So in just a moment, I'm going to share the trajectory with you, but don't forget that you can catch the full episode both on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find that in the description here or by searching for Sold with Christina Giordano. I hope you enjoy the rest of this, and don't forget, this is just a preview, so go check out the full episode. Until then, be well and take care.
Now, most people assume results increase by effort. My chart shows something different. Results increase with legibility. In lived experience, the trajectory usually unfolds like the following. Phase 1, linear movement. This is essentially the effort-based movement before you even begin the methods, and it's lots of effort. However, you may be receiving insights on direction. Some things may be working, meaning you're experiencing results from your efforts. You may be on and off with your visibility, maybe consistently on for a few months and then off again. You regularly feel uncertain, with spikes of inspiration and adrenaline keeping you moving forward, but you remain in the same loops. In this phase, reality responds slowly and inconsistently because signal continuity isn't stable yet. Let's move on to phase 2, approach to the threshold. This is where identity refinement begins. You've begun moving through the methods, starting with the marketing methods for essence-led expression, and then the manifesting methods for essence-led containment. The sold approach does something important. It reveals truth. For example, what fits, what doesn't, who you are, what your work is, what environments match, what drains signal, and what strengthens signal. But revelation alone doesn't reorganize reality. Stabilization does. So this process of moving toward this threshold zone is where truth stops being insight and becomes posture. So at this point, things are clicking. Your message is becoming refined, your movements are becoming more intentional, your life looks and feels less chaotic. This is where people start noticing less tolerance for fragmentation, cleaner yes and no signals, fewer environments feeling correct, desire returning differently, less urgently, and more steadiness. Movement becomes quieter, but more precise. This is where you're about to stabilize what you've discovered through the methods. This is the entry to the threshold zone. Phase 3 is what I call the holding pattern. This takes place inside the hinge. It's the part people misinterpret the most. It's not a pause. It's not a moment to just sit and wait for things to land. It is the installation phase that makes nonlinear movement possible. So externally, not much appears to change yet, but internally, everything changes. Specifically, your identity stabilizes, your signal becomes continuous, conditions stop determining movement, selection replaces negotiation, and orientation replaces strategy hopping. This is not waiting. This is stabilization. And stabilization is what allows nonlinear response to begin organizing. When you move through the sold approach, either with me, through the mentorship, or on your own through the ebook or memberships, that star point that you see on the graphic is where you realize you're a totally different person from when you started. It's the hinge. It occurs immediately after the rise method because it completes continuity. The star on the chart marks the hinge point where people realize they're no longer moving the way they used to They're not adjusting themselves to conditions anymore. They're moving from signal. But the hinge is not a single moment. It's a zone of transition. Inside that zone, your identity stabilizes. Your signal becomes continuous. Negotiation disappears. Movement reorganizes. And external response hasn't fully caught up yet. This is why I've called this specific zone a holding pattern. It's inside the threshold crossing. Now we move to phase 4, which is the exit of the threshold zone. Once signal continuity stabilizes, response begins accelerating. Opportunities arrive sooner, decisions simplify, introductions appear earlier than expected, timelines compress. That's what nonlinear response actually looks like. This is where something subtle but unmistakable shifts. People often report decisions feeling obvious sooner, timelines compressing, right introductions appearing, conversations landing differently, momentum stops looping, and opportunities arrive earlier than expected. It feels fast. Living in it, from my experience, it feels fast, like lightning fast, and you're just moving with it. This is what gets called nonlinear movement. But what actually happened is this: the delay loops disappeared. You stayed oriented toward what's true long enough to become a reliable steward of your purpose. And now life can respond reliably to you. Your movement is no longer condition responsive. It is signal responsive. And reality reorganizes around signal faster than effort. This is the orientation phase where desire becomes directional, selection accelerates, movement simplifies, and timing compresses. All you have to do here is stay oriented in truth. This welcomes the nonlinear response phase where reality reorganizes around signal continuity. So again, this is where introductions arrive, opportunities converge, clients recognize readiness, resources stabilize, and visibility becomes coherent, not because effort increased, but because legibility increased. Put all of this together, and you can think of it like this. Linear movement builds direction. The threshold stabilizes identity. The holding pattern stabilizes signal continuity. And nonlinear response stabilizes timing. Your stabilized signal is the mechanism for nonlinear outcomes that we have all been looking for. This is the magic we all desire to experience life. This is what we want. This is true manifestation, not by force, not by effort, not by affirming, but by standing in what's true for you long enough for life to recognize it too.